All right, and welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, and I'm here once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with John Burr. John, how's it going?
It's going better. It's going better.
Can I guess why it's going better for you?
Have you ever had, I hate to say this, we had a good loss, Keith.
A good loss is the sign of a bad team.
Yeah. Well,
that's a hurting fan base when you're like, man, that was a good loss.
It was a sick loss.
Honestly, no, but I agree with you because the Grizzlies played the Celtics competitively on Sunday, and at no time in that game did I feel stressed or upset.
No.
It was a game where they led by 2 in the final 2 minutes. They ended up losing the game. The whole time I'm like, this is a fun game. I have no expectations. I had no hope.
I went from, so I had tickets to this game, gave them away because I did not want to experience a potential Marcus Smart revenge game.
Right.
And then became filled with regret that I didn't get to see this magnificent, smartless near win.
Well, so let's not bury the lead. This entire show is going to be about how the Grizzlies are better without Marcus Smart.
Thank you for your service.
Is that one of your segments? Am I supposed to not? We haven't compared. Sometimes hey, here's my best. Here's my worst. Here's my apology.
I have a PowerPoint presentation about how Vince Williams is better than Marcus Smart.
Everyone knows Vince Williams Jr. is amazing. It's the most predictable thing ever.
But I'm ready to talk about how Jacob Gilyard does exactly what we.
Yeah. Here's a game I like to play, and it's funny. So we've been doing this show for 9 years. You know, we're on our 10th season. Early on, we had a Grizzlies epilogue, you know, where we would specifically talk about the Grizzlies. We would frequently talk about the Grizzlies. The last couple of years, when the Grizzlies have been good, we really didn't talk about them every episode.
Right.
But now they're a train wreck, and it's all we want to talk about. It's a main show. All we want to talk about is just like, this team is awful. And here's a fun game I like to play now, John. It's how many first round picks would you have to attach to undo a trade?
Yeah.
It's like, this is like, all right, we're gonna offer David Roddy for DeAnthony Melton. How many first round picks now will we need to attach?
2.
Yeah, probably 2. 2. Only because DeAnthony Melton's on an expiring salary. DeAnthony Melton's shooting 42% from 3.
What's Marcus Smart for Jrue Holiday? How many first rounds?
Oh, I wouldn't even. Yeah, from that angle, I was saying, okay, if you wanted to trade Marcus Smart and get back Tyus Jones, Marcus Sasser, and the Warriors pick next year, with the Warriors at 500 or around 500, how many first round picks do you have to attach to make that deal go through?
2.
It's like Marcus Smart and 2 firsts.
Yeah, this is a great game. Which Grizzlies deals? If you wanted to trade Steven Adams and Zaire Williams for Jonas Valanciunas, who averages more blocks per game than Jaren Jackson Jr., and Trey Murphy 3, how many first round picks would you need to attach? I call him Trey Murphy 3, not Trey Murphy the 3rd. I like it. Trey 3.
Yeah, Trey 3. His name's Trey 3-3.
Yeah.
Trey Murphy the Trey.
We just shouldn't have to say the 3rd.
Anyways, yeah.
I think that one, the injury makes it 1.
The injuries make it so that one. No, the injuries make it more.
I think so. Okay.
Because you're losing big time.
I forgot about our injuries. Oh yeah.
No, I'm saying we're offering a guy out for the year, and that one's not fair because that one we got a full, couple years of enjoyment, a couple years of being good with Steven Adams. Now he's just out for. I think, do the Grizzlies have? Was it the Cleveland Browns who had like a staph infection or something, or was it the Cavs and Browns? Were they sharing like a training table? Because I know, or is it the
Probably
Bulls?
the Cavs and Browns and local
indie
like
wrestling,
Luol Deng got an infection. I feel like the Grizzlies
Luol Deng like almost died, right?
Yeah, the Grizzlies have some kind of infectious orthopedic injury spreading thing.
I mean, you can have a bad training staff.
I mean, Xavier Tillman is like, they got tired. I think here's what happened. They got tired of me making fun of the Xavier Tillman injury reports, and they've now just said, hey, by the way, he's week to week.
He's out forever.
We don't know what's happening. So instead of saying,
have you ever missed a player less than Xavier Tillman? Like,
dude,
not in a mean way, but just like he's gone, and I'm just like, and then I'll see him in clothes, and I'm like, oh yeah, Xavier.
Here's my point this is the point I made on Grits and Grinds. I think just Taylor Jenkins needs to be less upbeat. I think if he was more like, this is real bad, then the injury news wouldn't be, because he's like, oh yeah, Luke Kennard, he's fine. He'll be back, but we're hoping he'll play one game this week. And now they're like, Luke Kennard's out for 2 weeks. You're like, well, why did he say he was fine? If he just said he wasn't fine, I'm not up. Like, and then with the Marcus Smart thing, on the Marcus Smart injury, he's out for 3 to 5 weeks. So now who comes back first, Ja or Marcus Smart, very up in the air. But for the Marcus Smart injury, Taylor Jenkins said, oh yeah, we met with the doctors. We'll have an update later, but it's just a sprain. It's not too serious.
Out 5 years.
And then you're like, out 3 to 5 weeks with an ankle sprain. It's kind of a bad ankle sprain. This is great. This is just all Grizz content all the time. You're wearing an NBA Jam. Is that it's Jaren and Ja?
Yeah.
What did you open for your Ja Morant advent calendar when the 13th game passed? We're now over halfway there. We're now 13 games in.
It was
only 12 to go.
Vince Williams rookie card.
God, do they even make Vince Williams Jr. rookie cards?
How do I buy an Vince Williams Top Shot?
Is Top Shot still around?
I think I want to know what my thousands of dollars are in pennies now. Do
you have holdings? Wait, does Chuck, whose name shall not be mentioned, doesn't Chuck still have a lot of Top Shot holdings?
This is deeply embarrassing.
Did he divest?
The reason I have holdings, I can't figure out how to get my money out of there.
No, that's not embarrassing. That's like everything that happens now, where it's like, I mean,
I've tried, and I've only successfully sold and I bought like a Zion Williams Top Shot for like, I hate to say this, it was like $500.
Well, yeah, I mean they peaked, they flew up. It was,
and I successfully
I assume it was worth thousands at one point.
$90.
Yeah.
But then could not figure out how to get it PayPal back to my account. And their app would just basically eventually tell you to try again another time.
Yeah.
And it works. They got me.
Well, like I have
sitting in an account, probably.
This is unrelated to pyramid schemes, scams, and NFTs. I've got like an online savings account at like a really famous, I'll go say American Express. Very known, big, one of the too big to fail financial institutions. Their website is so garbage. I'm like, this doesn't feel like, I need a brick and mortar bank. Like too many times you log in and they're like, yeah, our system's down. It's like, you're American Express. Shouldn't you be able to have your website work? Like you're not Top Shot Holdings LLC or whatever that is. My great regret, like there was briefly that time to retell the Fastbreak Breakfast Top Shot story where Top Shot wanted to sponsor the show and they were like, we'll give you $400 in site credit. And I was like, that's not money. That's
a trick.
Yeah. I was like, first of all, I don't understand your product. They're like, oh, it's an NFT. It's just, you would own a highlight. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense because you can't own a highlight. But then they were like, we'll give you $400 worth, whatever. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Just, I don't get it. And then all the other podcasters who did it, all of a sudden their $400 in Top Shot was worth like $2,000. And I was just like, or like more. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just gave away like several $1,000s for no reason. But of course, the only people who won are like the two people I know who sold everything.
Yeah. One of my only like professional victories was we did a Giorgio Moroder NFT that it went really well.
Yeah.
It sold for a lot of money, but it was also paired with a car. So I feel like that helped to sell it. And I was like, after working with the people that I worked with on this, I went to our board and was like, hey, we should not do any of these ever again.
Well,
this is a con
for
game,
you,
recognized game.
For you professionally, was there like this great sense of relief that people like that didn't fall on its face? I would think it's akin to me selling a ticket on like SeatGeek, promo code Fastbreak Break, where like I'm like, wait a minute, I think I'm going to go way underwater on this ticket, and then when it sells, I'm like, whew, I'm glad that's over. I'm never doing that again. Was there any kind of similar feeling to that?
Yeah, I mean, I really felt as I'm dealing with these kind of, and it was like really kind of these like new wave, new agey technocrat type people.
Yeah.
Like as we're getting closer and closer, I'm sure you've experienced this in podcasting many times. I'm sure I've been this person in podcasting for you many times. The person is talking to you. They're saying a lot of words. There was no substance to what they were saying at any point. And you could never even really figure out when the person who's selling the item doesn't know what they're selling.
Yeah.
The alarm bells go off.
I have another question. Do the NFT bros in the world, do they get outraged? Is there any kind of NFT purist who's outraged that you guys attached a physical car to your NFT offering?
The people we were in business with were outraged.
Oh, really? Oh, that's not the point.
They were like, we should sell these separately. We'll get the same amount of money for each.
And
we were just kind of adamant, just like, I don't think so. Like for us, It was a bit of a hedging our bets. Now, I think they may have been right that they would have both sold separately, but that was not a plunge that we were ready to take.
Yeah, it's risky.
It's kind of like, you know, when you have a trade in the NBA where it's like you're trying to make salaries match. It's like sometimes you have to do some weird things for a team to feel good about something. That's kind of where we ended up on this. And for me, it just made it all it took was one toe in those waters.
So you're saying it would be like if you attached a future Lakers pick that was top 10 protected, and you're like, there's a chance that evaporates into nothing.
Right.
But in the circumstance, maybe this thing disappears. At least we'll have the salary of Eric Bledsoe as this tangible thing we can hold.
Right. Anything
we can hold. I hope everyone is familiar enough with Grizzlies trades past to get that amazing comparison. Anyways, John, let's get out of our
Justice Winslow.
Oh man. What a great trade. How many first round picks attached to undo the Justice Winslow trade?
Oh my gosh.
Let's hear breakfast, John. We have to get out of this Grizzlies pit. We gotta talk about, like, I don't know, what other teams are we talking about today? Timberwolves, maybe? I got a Timberwolves thing. But let's do our breakfast first before we get there.
This morning I couldn't convince any of my usual early morning maniacs to. I had to get very early this morning to go get breakfast with me, and I didn't really feel healthy enough to go to McGaw's. Like I was feeling peaked, feeling weak. So I went and got my acai.
Oh yeah,
millet mixture that I eat sometimes.
Yeah, we went. My wife and I
went, gristle in my teeth.
My wife and I went to an anniversary dinner over the weekend, and lovely restaurant, had a tremendous meal. But there was one thing on the meal. Maybe it was great because the things we ordered were great, and like the drink they offered us, where I was like, that didn't sound great, but if you love it, well, yeah, I'll give it a go, and it was great. But there was one that was seriously like millet, acai, like kale, wheatgrass, and like all these blackberries. And I was like, I
drink some of those. Sometimes they call them a flu shot.
It was like a salad. And I was like, what is this? That's just too. I was like, no, give me your Caesar salad.
Have I told you about the salad bar I made in my office?
No. What is this even? Is this are we looking at your office right now? In my mind, This is your office. There's a salad bar just slightly off camera, by the way.
So
behind the Funko Pops that you see behind John Burr, there's a salad bar off to the right.
I have a sink. I have like
some Kalamata olives and cottage cheese.
Like when I built this office, it's separate from my house. I was like, I need to have a place in case I'm kicked out of my house forever that I can just stay in forever. But there's a sink in it but I don't ever use it because I don't drink tap water. I'm not like Andrew Huberman or anything. I just like fizzy water. And
Can you get a fizzy water tap going? Is that
I have now
fountain machine? Yeah.
I have a series of ramekins filled with my favorite salad items that I have in a carry case that is perfectly slotted to move from my refrigerator into my small sink. And then I just take my bowl of spinach and hit it with all the toppings. And I can't tell you, this is my biggest accomplishment of 2023. And it's not particularly close. It has enriched my life so much. It has nothing to do with parenting or professional stuff. It's like I have my own salad bar in my office.
This is one of the wildest things I've seen. I mean, I've heard. This is unbelievable.
Honest, I feel a little insane telling you about it. Like it's kind of like maybe 3 people know about this. My girlfriend definitely.
Well, at least 24 more know now that you've said it on this podcast.
And when I say salad bar toppings, I'm talking about all the things you should not be putting on your salad.
Yeah. Like do you have a bowl of Jello? Like the salad bars that like
that. I respect like there's like when you go to the salad bar and you see like the 78-year-old person just working that thing.
Yeah.
I always respect that they've got like a scoop of Jello and then like smoked oysters, but I can never go totally insane. I think the craziest thing I do, and I do beets.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty great.
In the chat, they're saying this is a salad bar in your office is a slippery slope to a sundae bar. It's also a slippery slope to piss bottles. So you're you're just living your life.
What about a Route 44?
A Route 44. That's what that's. We reuse those, saving the planet. My breakfast once again. I don't know how this keeps happening. So I guess it's Thanksgiving week. My wife's working from home and she is the breakfast fiend. It's not me. She's a fiend. She doesn't even like sweets except for in the morning. She wants a donut basically every morning. And so she brought me home hipster expensive $4. No,
all these donuts.
She doesn't eat any other time of day.
Oh, okay.
She just
probably stop eating 3.
So I think it's something about you can have if you have a donut when you wake up and like maybe get your metabolism going, like, hey, we got to start working, we got to start burning stuff, and then she doesn't eat until like dinner. So I don't know. She's got a trick. But I had a plain glazed donut, one of the $3.50 variety. It was pretty good. Can't complain.
Man. Yeah. Plain glazed donut is just a classic item.
Classic. You can't mess it up.
Yeah. It's kind of like pizza where they're just. I can eat any. Like I ate pizza from Panera Bread recently.
Oh,
Panera, maybe the worst restaurant ever. And that pizza is pretty good. It was cheese pizza for my daughter. She of course wouldn't eat.
I used to have a bit. I think I might have done it before on the show where it was like, if you're eating at Panera Bread, something horrible happened to your day. Like,
that's how I got
there. Yeah. It's like you ended up at the doctor unexpectedly. Yeah. Your kid threw up. You had to go somewhere. You're at a funeral out of town. You're like, I don't know where to eat.
The rest of
let's go eat at Panera.
My partner was stuck in a 2-hour Burlington Coat Factory line.
Oh, that's amazing! In my neck of the woods, or a different one. Because there's a Panera. By the way, for our listeners, there's a Panera and Burlington Coat shared parking lot situation like a mile from my house.
There's one identically in Madison, which is
so are they teamed up? Is this like Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Well, they're filling their taxes out together.
There's a Hobby Lobby in the same thing, but and this was a huge fight because like I'm already very mad that we're shopping, not because I don't mind that we're shopping, but I strive to have honesty with ourselves and our lives. And I want my girlfriend to admit she loves to go shopping. Because the whole time we're shopping, she's like, I hate this so much. I'm like, then why aren't we buying these things on Amazon? If you hate it, why aren't we buying these things on Amazon? And she'll counter with they have better deals, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, that's not true. I'm going to find these things cheaper online while we're here. And I'm just doing it over and over again.
She's supporting she's supporting local stores. And/or
Burlington Coat
Factory.
And as I've alluded to, I have 0 argument wins against this woman lifetime.
Yeah.
Like this is, Buffalo Bills and the Super Bowl stuff. And so she defeats me.
Yeah.
But then we're shopping for a while in Burlington Coat Factory. And then because of whatever, I'm not sure what kind of economic recession we are on the crux of, but turns out there's 2 people working at this Burlington Coat Factory.
I'm surprised they don't have a robot.
So there's like maybe 16, 17 people in line. And Allie's like, this won't be that long. And I'm like, I worked retail. You've never worked retail. I've worked retail. I've worked retail during the holidays. This is at least an hour. Goldie can't take this. We got to go get her something to eat.
Yeah, got to go get that, yeah.
And then we walk out into that wasteland, and there is but one small, tiny restaurant with also no people working. Panera is now completely like you do it all on your phone or you do it all at like a kiosk.
Yeah.
And we went down to Panera Bread and sat down there for 2 hours while she waited to check out.
It was incredible.
And there was no I told you so's. There was no anything. When we reconvened, we just got in the car silently.
That's right. Don't talk about it. That's how relationships work. Anyways, we gotta get moving. This show is it's off the rails for us. Anyways, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we move into our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right anything we may have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA, non-Grizzlies edition. John, is there anything that you got wrong that you would like to apologize for?
I'd like to apologize to the likes of Scotty Thurman, Corliss Williamson, all my hogs out there.
Lee Mayberry.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
So
that's
good.
Beautiful. I mean, that's as good as it gets. I misidentified Anthony Black as a former Alabama Crimson Tide player when he was, in fact, an Arkansas Razorback.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's understandable.
I do that a lot.
They wear the same jerseys. At least they used to. Alabama basketball and Arkansas basketball.
Yeah.
Virtually the same. Yeah.
I definitely love NCAA basketball when at least one of those teams is good.
I can no longer correct you or anyone if they say an NBA player is from the wrong college because I have no idea. I don't know where
you did this time. This was
I don't know. Well, I found it out later. This is
also like
I can't correct you live in the moment anymore.
Orlando Magic fetishism.
You also kept calling him AJ Black. Was that just an AJ Soprano thing? Like AJ Anthony Soprano? I don't know if he's I don't have any evidence yet, although I didn't look hard if anyone calls Anthony Black AJ Black.
I just remember having an afro and running around and being called AJ Black in college while
you could be right.
So I could have made that up.
Who was that Arkansas college basketball player who was super tiny, who was the first guy who shot like Steph Curry threes? Is it Dillard? Now I have to Google Dillard, Arkansas, and see if that's what I'm talking about. He had real long shorts, was very, very small. This is like the very end of my watching basketball. Is it this guy? Alex Dillard?
Man, they have so many good players that this is like hard. I forgot Joe Johnson played there.
Oh, Joe Johnson, of course.
Lord. Joe Klein.
Anyways.
Oh, Lee Mayberry.
That's what I said, man. Lee Mayberry. My apology. So last week, there was an omission in the awards segment of the program. I left out a worthy honorable mention during the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. I feel terrible about it. So I got to make that right. I should have acknowledged that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was an honorable mention. He had a 6 for 21 game last week. And this is Shai Gilgeous, who actually won the first iShop Award this season. We thought at that point he probably wouldn't get mentioned again in the iShop program. Well, turns out only because of my mistake. So I apologize to anyone following along. Also, John, this is not an apology, but I am bothered and upset by how good the Thunder are.
Oh, yeah.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is incredible.
Him and Chet combining for 75 points the other day.
Well, yeah, they did. So not even that. So one game, like you say, they scored 76 points together.
Alex Dillard sandwiched between Scott Hastings and Gennaro Pargo on the best Arkansas Razorbacks.
Now we're talking. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Not only did Chet and Shai average or score 76 in a game, then you had the game against the Blazers, where as a team, the Thunder shot 60% on twos, 60% on threes, and 100% from the line. That's immoral. Like that's not okay. That shouldn't happen. Shea, who like, do you remember like what say 6 months ago? Where like
in theory,
if you mentioned that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is better than Ja Morant in our line of work, people would get furiously angry at you.
I still will, but that I'm wearing a t-shirt.
That's okay. Like Shea's averaging 30 points per game. He, we already know he shoots like 95% from the line and his true shooting percentage is unbelievable. He's leading the NBA in steals. This guy's 2 steals, 1 block, 30 points per game. And now they got Chet. Like it's not enough that they have an all NBA guard who's like a 50, 40, 90 guy. Now they picked up a rookie center who's a 50, 40, 90 guy. It's not right. Something wrong there. I don't feel like we can let Presti win either. He hasn't even used
Presti has won.
He hasn't even used the picks he's been hoarding.
Yeah. I was about to say Presti's he's playing with house money at this point.
Yeah, he hasn't even used the picks yet.
Even the things he's not done, like work out for him perfectly.
I mean, just so like Jalen Williams.
You remember everyone suspected and clamored for a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander trade for years.
It's stuff people. A lot of that was rooted in them shutting him down 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
we're like, this guy's gonna be all NBA. You're gonna take that from him to get more lottery balls. But yeah, it worked. Yeah, just Chet and then Jalen Williams and Shea together are just unreal. Makes me angry all over, kind of. Anyways, those were our apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, just a word from Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is a unique way to play fantasy sports for money. John, you and I play Underdog Fantasy in the private drafts where we do a daily fantasy draft among our listeners, play for a couple bucks. Also, if you live in Tennessee, which something like 18% of our listeners do, now the higher or lowers are available to you. So if you want to look at the nightly slate and say, oh yeah, Chet's going to get more than 1.5 blocks and steals combined. Absolutely 100%. You can now play hires and lowers. Another way to have fun playing fantasy sports for cash. And the best news is if you use our promo code FBBF or sign up using the link in this episode's description, Underdog Fantasy will match your opening deposit up to $500. They will also give you a free higher or lower pick to kick things off. So if you want to try out Underdog Fantasy, do it. Use that promo code FBBF or click the link in this episode's description. All right, John, steak and eggs best thing. What is the best thing you saw in the last week?
I think we're starting to see, if you recall, kind of perhaps saying Damian Lillard was influenced by Steph Curry's folly, but like the way that Steph Curry changed the game and changed the kind of methodology of how players were preparing themselves and wanted to play like, I think we might be seeing like a Nikola Jokic type influence where teams and players are starting to want to have systems that operate more like that instead of like 5-out shooting threes. And specifically, I'm referencing Şengün. And you have a team that is having great success playing through a guy like that. And even I remember Nikola Jokic himself clamoring for saying the Rockets offense was stagnant and they should play through Şengün more when he was but a rookie. And I think we might be seeing I could be wrong, and it could be just a couple of really special Euro trash 7-footers doing the damn thing. But for me, like, it would be great if we like kind of saw this more emphasis, because my favorite teams to watch in the NBA are the Nuggets and the Kings, and they both run through a really awesome passing big man, and it's just a style that I enjoy, and I feel like it's kind of catching on. And even in our own experience as Grizz fans, like, we kind of ran the ball through Steven Adams a lot during our most fun to watch era. And I think as I look around the league, I'm seeing it more and more you're seeing these pick and roll combos that really rely on nope. I think Cade Cunningham and Duran had the most pick and rolls for a while. I know Duran's dead now, but that was fun. And I know they won 2 games, but I just enjoy that style of basketball and seeing a player like Şengün take the next steps. I know there's been a lot of articles showing Jokic stats at the same age as Şengün. And there was another funny one floating around where people are I mean, there's just a lot of fun things you can do with stats like that. They're not really indicative of anything else, but it is cool to draw comparisons to players. I'm not saying Şengün's the next Jokic, but I'm liking the way that the Rockets are using him, and it's a fun style to watch. And after as fun as the Steph Curry thing has been, and his impact, especially if you're around youth players, has been, kind of can't be overstated. I can't really watch people heave threes all the time, as the first 12 games of the Grizzlies will show you in my watching habits.
Yeah.
But if the game starts to go this direction, I think it's good for the overall health.
I'm interested to think about if that is like an actual pattern, or I would argue just more of like specific, you play the players you have, and Sabonis and Şengün are definitely the best players, some of the best players on the Rockets. I think more of it is just like, maybe it's just aesthetically for us as old men watching the game.
Absolutely.
It's good to have variety. And
I totally agree.
Where it's just like,
I still think college basketball in many ways can be a superior product, despite the players not being nearly as good, is the whole styles make fights thing.
Yeah.
I certainly think that in college football, like in pro football, to me, every team is such a very tiny degree away from each other, and the copycat nature of it, and everyone kind of running the same offenses and defenses, that it's really hard to watch. Whereas you still have like ridiculous teams trying ridiculous things to win. I think the styles make fights nature of the college game is like that. So I'd love to see, just different styles of hoops in the NBA. Although I understand, some of these we've watched, the Tom Thibodeau stroll through and fail in the playoffs. So, although he got a title, we watched people kind of, NBA is very, very different because of the few players that you actually play come playoff time. But to me, it is a more aesthetic, like you nailed it. It's just about aesthetically pleasing basketball.
Well, I think it makes your team better if you're not just running 5 out and or pick and roll or dribble handoff nonstop. If you have the option sometimes to throw it to a big who's also really good at passing. And like, I think one of the, maybe this
He's
might
got
be
6 assists per game this year.
Who?
Şengün.
Yeah. Well, so, you know who else is averaging 6 assists per game this year?
Were you going to say Embiid? Who?
Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Embiid's passing has gone through
the
watching
roof.
The Sixers now without Harden is unreal.
Yeah. I did a playback with Dave DeFore on Sunday. We're watching the Sixers play, and like, just Maxey's sprinting up and down the court, and Embiid's just throwing it to him, like pitch and catch, like 2-man game. And that's night and day from what they were doing last year, where they were just pounding the ball, dribbling up and like going so slow. And so having the ability, yes, Embiid can basically shoot a 15-footer whenever he wants, but having the ability to him also now be able to pass a little bit better. And that was a huge weakness to Embiid's game. Like you're supposed to double team him, and he would turn it over a lot. And just like, it's one of the huge things that like the Grizzlies are missing, just by having Steven Adams there, who can also screen and rebound. But when Desmond Bane can't get open, throw it to Adams. He will pass it to somebody, or at the very least, he'll even turn the basketball over, but he'll stretch the defense out. He'll try passes that eventually stretch the defense out. And I do think, the Rockets have it right now. I do love you highlighting the Rockets play in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. I know all games are close.
And they lost.
It's a hard road trip at LA, 2 games, Lakers, Clippers, then at the Warriors. And the Lakers and Clippers games both came down to the final buzzer. Don't worry, John. Rockets have a get-right game on Wednesday night back at home, hosting the Memphis Grizzlies, where Dylan Brooks' revenge game night. I can't. It's the most excited I've been for a game all year.
I I'm really on the fence about if I can even watch after that article.
I mean, it's like there's like 1,000 games because every team plays on Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. I'm hoping I can do a playback for that one. Who knows?
Has fantasy been ruined by the
tournament? The in-season tournament kind of really jacks up fantasy because you got too many players playing on too many days, and you got like you can't play all your guys. You got 12 guys going on a night. Yeah, and also I think this is something to look forward to, not my parfait away. Whenever we get like the 8 teams to advance in the in-season tournament, and then it's like the end of November, I think we're like a week away. We're a week away from them assigning the games that haven't been assigned yet for like the 22 teams that don't make it. And then there are 8 quarterfinal games. I think it's going to break maybe every fantasy platform. There's no way ESPN is paying the programmers to be able to adapt this. Like, I think we're all going to have a week off from fantasy where the system's like, oh my goodness, there's games right now. We had no idea this was coming. So I'm very curious if we get a Y2K situation with like Yahoo and ESPN and all of our top like fantasy basketball sites as like games are added at the end of November, something very, very strange that's never happened before in the NBA season. I'll do my best thing. John. We had an all-time historical NBA moment. I assume it's going to be featured in like greatest moments of the 2000s, 2020s. I assume the year-end, like do they still make year-end highlight DVDs? I wish they did.
Are you referring to the moment when Jacob Gilyard was switched on to Victor Wembanyama?
No, I did like that. I did like that moment. Tallest player and shortest player in the league right now. No, I'm talking about the thing that all fans come to see, and this is not a Nikola Jokic ejection reference. I'm talking about when you tune in to watch professional sports and you tune in to watch your favorite NBA team, you hope, you pray you get the opportunity to see something this rare, this exciting, a buzzer beater coach's challenge, a game winning at the buzzer walk off coach's challenge by Frank Vogel at the end of double overtime. His team ahead by 3. Kevin Durant called for a 3-shot foul on Lauri Markkanen, but Frank Vogel says, no. Throws down the challenge, spins his finger in the air. The crowd's going crazy. They're just chanting. You can feel the energy on League Pass as Zach Zarba stares into his tiny monitor for 4, 5, 6 minutes.
Did he give the resultant call with gusto?
We watched the replay. You're like, well, all right. Durant's hands on him. His off hands kind of feeling out Markkanen as he rises up. Oh, he gets a fingertip on the ball. Oh, the follow through. That's a lot of wrist. Oh, it's off arm too. And then we wait. And then like that.
So this wasn't like a toe on the line thing. This was like a foul call. It
was a 3-shot foul call. Oh, have you not seen it, John?
No.
You got to see it because it is. All the replays are. Oh, that's a foul. Yeah, that's a foul. That's a foul. And then it turns out, no. Durant got a fingertip on the ball. We don't care about we don't feel like the off arm was affecting Markkanen's rhythm or balance. So they're saying that was marginal. They're saying the finger on the ball hit first and we got it. I mean, the energy of a 5-minute review to close down a double overtime game.
If I was at
my kids couldn't stop talking about it. They went to school the next day. They're like, my dad let me stay up to 11:30 p.m. and you'll never believe the magic I witnessed. This one referee watched TV for 5 minutes.
That makes
at the end of a double overtime game
this week. Where had I been at them, I would have stormed the castle for a refund. Because by the way, if you throw out the should have been 3-time MVP whose main trait is not caring, you are the villain of the story.
I can't. My referees, they've lost me. They've lost me. We've seen so many horrible the Pistons fans also saw Giannis Antetokounmpo get ejected for a cool dunk.
Yeah.
He got ejected previously for a cool dunk and a stare down. My brother lives in Detroit. Financially, doesn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And like, if he spent his money to go to a Pistons game, which is like kind of a big deal for them. Like they got kids and stuff.
You're talking hundreds of dollars.
I'm talking, it's an expensive thing to do. You got to choose your entertainment options as a family. And like, if you say, oh my goodness, we can watch, not only can we watch not only can we watch Marcus Sasser get moved to 11th in the rotation.
Yeah, Marcus Sasser just not getting playing time. It's mystifying.
Not only can we watch our favorite players play, we can see Nikola Jokic, the greatest player of our time. And then you go and they toss him out for two techs that are both like not fighting, didn't punch anybody, didn't shove anybody, didn't run around the court, like making a scene. He got called for a double tech early on a sorry call as Isaiah Stewart, king of the double techs, they had a little issue.
You goated.
And then he has a play, and it was hysterical. I got to know what Trey Maddox said to him, the referee, because everyone watching the play, like Jokic is dribbling the basketball. He gets fouled, and he sort of stops playing, but in a way where he turns to the ref and he lets the ball bounce in front of him like two times, but he puts his arms out like, are you going to use your whistle? Like, what are you doing? And then he's like, all right, no. So then he goes and picks the ball up, tries to do a rip through. Maybe this was cleanly knocked out of bounds, kind of like another foul. He turns back to the referee with arms up, like, are you going to blow your whistle and do anything? And Michael Malone's already been ejected. Like, they've already been mad at him. And I'm telling you, there's no chance. There's zero chance the referee said nothing.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, because Jokic then, again, goes arms out to him and is like, are you not going to call? Like, what are you doing? And then something where like, then Jokic takes two steps at him and starts yelling at him. I will bet 1 month's podcast earnings on like, he said something.
Yeah. Have you heard those refs when they're mic'd up? They like F-bomb the players and stuff.
I'm sure he said something. And even after what I'm assuming the referee said something.
Don't let Monty McCutcheon's bow tie fool you. These are uncouth, vitriolic people.
But even after that happened,
from Copland, and they're all scary.
Even after that happened, Jokic obviously gets mad, takes a step forward towards the guy.
Curses
I can understand. There's this leeway on like first text and second text. They're not the same. If you say first text and second text are the same, you're wrong. Officials have to know. I've already given a soft tech out. This guy's got to earn his second one. Call it the Draymond Green corollary. You know how Draymond Green has to choke a guy to get ejected in the NBA?
Yeah.
Let's give some of that leeway to every other player. And like, yeah, it was an ugly scene. Anyways, here, I'm gonna pile on this. Those were our best things. Steak and eggs best things. Opposite of steak and eggs best thing. Cream of wheat worst thing. Here's my cream of wheat worst thing. The Pistons.
2-13.
Get your house in order, Monty. I mean, I know you inherited a mess.
You got cool players.
You got like Jaden Ivey was allowed to start
at last
on Monday night. Monty is owed like $80 million over the next 5. So like he's good. He doesn't have to do anything.
Man. He's the bag man.
Did they really like? They might have given him a 6-year deal, but like, anyways,
paid coach ever.
Highest paid coach ever, and like he's benching Asar Thompson in second halves.
Yeah,
he tricked me. He duped me. He played Kevin Knox like 4 straight games, like 35 minutes, and I'm like, first of all, why in the world is Kevin Knox starting for your team? Second of all, if you're starting him, why is he closing the game out when you're down 40 to the Raptors? He's starting in, you're down by 40 and you have a guy who you start out there. So I picked him up a negative fantasy. He gets a DMP on Monday. All my fab evaporated. But this team is a clown show. Like Cade Cunningham's sort of stopped passing. He finally started passing again. Cade Cunningham, like, I know he's a good player and he's frustrated and he acknowledged that like the Pistons are bad, but like Cade's been not good this year.
Yeah, I would agree.
Among people who shoot the ball a lot, he is by far the worst field goal percentage. That's a very accurate stat I just quoted. But he's like 20 field goal attempts per game and he's shooting 40%, which is like that's not okay. Like, so like I don't know what the fixes are. I mean, maybe just heal up Jalen Duren. Maybe Duren fixes all these flaws. But I felt like on Monday night, this game, they caught the Nuggets like third game in 4 nights. Malone and Jokic get ejected early. They still find a way to lose. They lose to their ex-Pistons. Reggie Jackson, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, homecoming games. But like this team is now, they have 3 separate losing streaks this calendar year of 11 games or more. In the last 5 seasons, there's something like 18 total 11 game losing streaks, and the Pistons have 3 of them this calendar year. It's basically like it's like the Suns, Sixers, and Pistons have all the 11 game losing streaks over the past 5 seasons. But yeah, they're a nightmare, and they have cool young players, and I don't understand how it's this bad.
I think you kind of spelled it out. What is Monty doing?
I mean, I know he said he's trying to break bad habits, but I don't know how
Kevin Knox 40 minutes.
I don't know how playing Kevin Knox over like your actual important rostered guys.
Yeah. Actual factual.
The way to do it. Yeah. And we know they traded. I mean, obviously Troy Weaver, blood on his hands. Like they've been horrible. Like the rebuild has been going forever.
Yeah. I mean, this was supposed to be like,
they traded for James Wiseman. They traded Sadiq Bey, who's like a useful, who scored 50 a game.
Bagley. I mean, they just have too much.
Like Bagley's okay. To me, yeah. Bagley's all right. To me, they started Bagley on Monday night, and it felt like, again, they started Ivy and Bagley. All these
reclamation projects, Knox, Bagley, Wiseman. Okay, sure. You can get those guys minutes somewhere, but play the guys you actually selected.
I have a soft spot for Bagley. I feel like he's playing well. But like I was saying, like him starting alongside Ivy would have been like, oh, this coach is trying not to get fired. But again, I don't think Monty Williams, he can't get fired. He's got too much money owed to him. He's just playing the normal people. You're not doing anything weird. But like since they got Wiseman, again, I think it's the 4-34 since last year's trade deadline.
Ryan Kirkpatrick says 4-34 since the All-Star game.
Yeah, so they're a nightmare, and they should be cool. I keep watching them though. Cool. Because I like watching Asar Thompson. I was a Pistons fan as a kid.
You don't get to watch Asar Thompson.
I mean, maybe they'll fix it. You know what's going to fix it? It's exciting. Here's another thing to look forward to. I'm filled with optimism.
Are they going to trade with Zaire Williams?
No, they play the Wizards.
Come get our. Oh my God.
Yeah, we got a Wizards Pistons game coming up.
True sicko mode engaged.
It's going to be so good. Anyways, John, what's your worst thing? Did you do a worst thing?
I spoke this into existence.
Oh, okay. What's your worst thing?
First of all, we found out that no one booed Miles Bridges anyways. But he did return to immediately hit a game-winning shot, proof that the notion of karma is folly indeed.
Yeah, he hit that shot like it was the mother of his children.
Oh, dear Lord, dear.
Yeah. Was that it? We're just sad about Miles Bridges and the lack of karma in the universe.
It looks like, it was when you were saying that he was going to get booed in his own building. I kind of was like, I don't.
That also could have been my apology.
I didn't want to be confused with endorsement on my part.
I really thought it would be a mixed reaction to boos when he played. I didn't hear the opening. I didn't watch the opening starting lineup introductions, but he was not getting booed. Like I tuned in first quarter and there was no boos whatsoever for Miles Bridges. And I found that stunning.
This isn't on that level, but I remember people being like, Derrick Rose is not going to be welcomed back into Memphis because of his sexual assault allegations.
I've never heard a single person say that ever.
I was like, oh man, I'm in some deeply.
Are you making up is this like I was told Steph Curry wasn't a good shooter.
This is Carissa. This is my Carissa Taylor moment. Am I getting that name right?
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, the NFL sideline reporter.
I'm just making up sideline interviews.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking with a lot of fans who said, yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of fans don't follow to that degree anyways and don't really know,
yeah, you're right.
what's going on. They just hear like, oh, he got in trouble or he's in.
I understand like the normal fan's not going to know that, hey, our owner's a private prison profiteer.
Right.
But like, I feel like the Miles Bridges story, that was pretty, I felt like that seeped through. I felt like that cut through. I thought everyone, I don't know. It's yeah.
But it was painful to watch. It was just one of those, not him. Anyway, it's like the the character in the Matrix, like, not like this. Not like this.
Here's another worst thing. This is just for Celtics fans. It didn't end up costing them. On the same day that Frank Vogel had the world's greatest challenge, walk-off game winner on a challenge, Joe Mazzulla challenged an out-of-bounds call 4 minutes into a game.
Thick.
What are you even doing?
Sleepy Joe.
Like, that's not even if you win, it's a bad challenge. I mean, like, if you're certain of the outcome, that's a terrible use of your resources. I got just getting the ball back. Who cares? What's a Grizzlies half-court possession worth? Like 0.8 points? It's not a lot. Who cares? Like, you got to save that if you might need it. You might need to do a walk-off game winner. Anyways, those were our worst things. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, we have a couple of listener-submitted questions. A croissant question.
Jeff Kalita asks, no one ever talks about the turn of the century Nets teams that made the finals twice. Why is that?
I love this question. Why do you think it is?
I want to say something about Jason Kidd, domestic violence, but I think we just disproved all that.
No one cares at all.
I feel like we kind of talk about it enough for Richard Jefferson of all people to have a commentary position. I don't know. They weren't sexy teams. They weren't like Keith Van Horn was one of the best players on the team.
Yeah, we had Kerry Kittles, Kenyon Martin, Keith Van Horn.
Well, Kenyon Martin, I think he was a rookie on the second title team.
Oh, is that right?
Which had the game set, the worst shooting performance in playoffs history, Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
I think it's just a combination of not a sexy team, and then also they're not the New Jersey Nets anymore. They're the Brooklyn Nets. You kind of forget those teams that, like, I never think about the Bobcats ever again. I don't think about the New Orleans. I think about
Primoz Brzic a weird amount.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
Very well.
I guess I got a Bobcats hat over my it's my right shoulder, left shoulder on the mirror image video right now. I think it is pretty basic that, like, one, those teams were terrible, and the league was kind of bad then. Like, we had lost we'd lost kind of the Jordan magic, like Jordan was gone, and it was just like we were kind of searching for, like, what are the big, I don't know, big exciting teams. I remember these years because, like, and maybe
tell me Todd McCullough didn't excite you.
Yeah, who's that? Aaron Williams.
Chris Childs was on the.
I mean, it was a pretty dark time, I feel like, for the sexiness of the NBA. Like,
I mean, that may have been my most. I'm in college at that point, and that may have been my most heavy gambling phase. So I remember this, like, all too well, frankly.
I mean, like, we had Shaq and Kobe, so, like, that was a thing. But, like, I remember
maybe that's why you don't remember it.
So I was heavily into the NBA at this time. Also, like, back then, you had League Pass, but you couldn't go back and watch games or whatever. And, like, I feel like these are years I would check out of the playoffs. I was like, I don't care that much, and like there would be finals games. Like, there were Spurs Nets finals game. I didn't watch any of them. I'm like, and then you look at the scores of these games, just putrid.
Okay. Here's an underrated thing. Teams that get swept, I think, get forgotten, and they got swept.
I mean, the Eastern Conference was so bad. And I loved Jason Kidd. I was crushed because back then my team was basically the Suns. And when they traded Jason Kidd for Stephon Marbury, that was like, I remember where I was. Like, I heard it on the radio. And it was like, I was so upset about that trade because I love Jason Kidd, and it seemed like Jason Kidd single-handedly transformed these Nets teams.
I mean, Jason Kidd's an all-time great player.
Yeah.
If I'm addicted to kind of YouTube highlight videos, no one has longer best blank player passes videos than Jason Kidd. You can find videos that are like 45 minutes of just mind-blowing passes from him.
Here are in a 6-game series against the Spurs in the finals. Here are the Nets points totals per game. I'm just going to read off game 1 to game 6. These are the Nets points totals. 89, 87, 79, 77, 83, 77.
I mean, to put that into perspective, we are talking about an era where most teams scored about 90 points a game.
Yeah. I mean, it was some just awful. It was bad basketball. I'm pretty sure it was bad basketball. Like, no one shot through. Like, Kerry Kittles was a sniper, for the era. He was making like 1 3 per game and shooting like 34%. I'm not going to look at those numbers.
Kerry Kittles and Keith Van Horn's socks, though. We'll always have that.
Oh, yeah. It was style icon, Kerry Kittles. I'm actually now curious. I'm actually looking up.
You're in too deep.
Yeah. Kerry Kittles, like, he
shot. Do you think most people even remember? Because I think Dikembe Mutombo was on that second team, right?
I don't even remember.
I wonder if people even remember that Mutombo played for that team. Are you looking at rosters? I think Mutombo was on the second one.
I've now accidentally gotten into a Kerry Kittles game log situation.
Don't go into the Kenyon Martin finals games game logs.
Yeah, Mutombo was on the 03 Nets team. Yeah, that's a good memory, man. I don't remember that at all. Yeah, he was playing in those finals. I didn't watch the finals games. Like those. There you go. I don't remember him playing in the finals.
Probably tried to watch them fight the Lakers. Saw them get swept, and then the next year you're like, I'm not watching this again.
Well, I think it was just it was like a down era for the NBA. They weren't a sexy team. I think they were frankly a pretty bad team as far as finals teams go. And so I think that's a reason. And I think you're right.
But you would think the worst finals team of all time would be a little more memorable.
No, that's a question for another day. They were, I mean, I feel like the Allen Iverson. I feel like the Allen Iverson.
God. Yeah.
Despite the Ty Lue step over and winning that game 1, those teams were putrid. That was just a bad run. The Eastern Conference had a bad run. All right, let's do it. What's our next question?
Magnus asks, are you surprised that none of the quote unquote big names in flopping have caught a flopping fine so far? Is this favoritism, skill at deception, random chance, or did they actually tone it down? I haven't seen enough flopping calls. I think I've only seen 2.
I've seen more. I'm not clear on this because I've seen. It's almost like if you get hit with the flopping technical, you don't get a flopping fine. But I don't know if that's accurate. I feel like it's kind of I feel like the flopping fines are maybe reserved for people who got away with it because your technical foul fine, I assume it's the same as always, is just $2,000. And so the flopping fine, the only people, I believe this is current, the only people who've been fined for flopping this season, this is not a long list. Max Strus, Javon Carter, Kobe White, Jay Crowder, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Jalen Brunson, Jordan Clarkson, Josh Okogie, and Dante DiVincenzo.
Is Melton going to get one for his recent masterpiece?
Oh, Melton had a terrible flop. I think
this is just Magnus.
I feel like Melton's flop was so. I feel
trying to litigate Smart's place in history.
I feel like Melton's flop was so slow that it never had a chance of confusing anyone, and so it doesn't count. Yeah, I don't know because I've seen some agree. Like I've seen, like Austin Reeves is still doing Austin Reeves things.
Yeah,
has not been fined.
Harden is still doing Harden things.
Kelly Olynyk, one of the great floppers of our time, doing it. Santi Aldama has not been fined, and that guy,
Santi Aldama,
unbelievable
had like a kabuki theater performance where he tried to make the refs think that Anthony Davis punched him in the face.
Yeah. He
shouldn't get a fine. He should get an Academy Award.
He instigated a chest shove, which he got, and then he grabbed his face.
He got so in AD's personal space that I feel like AD had to push him, or else he becomes unmanned.
Yeah, I don't. It's a good question. I'm confused about the application of the flopping fines. As best I can tell, if you get hit with a tech, they're not going to fine you because like Marcus Smart has got hit with a couple of flopping techs. But I still feel like they could do more because the flopping is still all there. And like, I'll never
forget the moment in the season when I knew I wasn't going to have a good time, Keith. It may have been the first game. It was one of our games that was actually close, and we're in like the last minute. And instead of defending, Marcus just starts flopping. And I was like, this is going to be hard on me. This may not.
Yeah.
This may not. You know what? Maybe this is a good year to quit podcasting.
It's not your cup of tea. So
this is going to be rough.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the question, Magnus. Thanks for the question, Jeff. If you guys out there want your question answered on air or as part of our monthly Millennial Brunch bonus episode, which we will do sometime after Thanksgiving, you have to become a Patreon supporter. Join at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Also, little Patreon announcement. Whatever level you're at right now, Patreon supporters, you're grandfathered in forever. But for new people, just so you know, the $1 tier, that's going away into this year. No more $1 tier. So you have until December 31st if you want to get in at the cheapest possible price and still get access to those bonus episodes. Well, you have basically 5 weeks to sign up. Once you're in, you're good. You're grandfathered in. You can pay $1 for forever. But that one's going away. Oh, and that $3 tier to get you in the Slack, that one's going up too. So if you want to get in at the cheap price, $3 for the Slack, $1 for the bonus episodes, you have until the end of the year. But then those things are going away. Slack price going to be $5. And of course, if you're already in, you're good. Your price is locked in for forever. But if you're considering joining up, now's a great time to do it because the price of the brick going up. So if you want to support the show, you want to get bonus content, you want to join our Slack channel, do it all. Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, John, it's now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. We're only going over about 5 days of box scores. So much like last week where we had too many good performances and we had to leave some out, this time we were scrounging a little bit. But here's what we got. Our honorable mentions, Sam Hauser, 1 for 9. Keontae George, 2 for 12. Fred VanVleet, 3 for 13. Nikola Vucevic, 4 for 16. Jaylen Brown, 5 for 17. Our 3 nominees, as they occurred chronologically through the week. First of all, we have PJ Washington, iShop legend. PJ Washington, in a loss to the Knicks, was 1 for 10, 3 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 6 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. I mean, we're accustomed to PJ Washington having like a 1 for 15, but then he gets like 4 blocks and 4 steals, and we're like, oh, that's cool. Don't worry about it. This one, 1 for 10, 6 turnovers. Amazing. Then we have Taurean Prince, 1 for 11 in a win, a 1-point win against the Rockets. Taurean Prince, 1 for 11, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, no personal fouls. Perhaps try. Did you see some of this game, John? The Lakers-Rockets game?
Yep.
It was Dylan getting booed constantly. They were booing him as if he was a domestic abuser and they had a problem with him playing.
Yeah, I saw the your master troll work during the game.
Was it just Dylan or something else?
With LeBron and his multiple hand gestures.
Oh, yeah.
Roll them up, smoke them up.
LeBron and AD shooting 75% from the field. I mean,
it's like they were playing the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I do like the final play where like Dylan had to foul LeBron 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like, hey, maybe don't just have Dylan guard LeBron one-on-one with the game on the line. Like, he can't do that. No one can do that.
You should have watched the Grizzlies series where we ended up putting Tillman on him instead of Dylan. He doesn't understand the assignment.
John, we have breaking news in the middle of our International Stackhouse
Come on,
Pancakes
chat. Where
Award.
you at?
I mean, maybe I should fully read the tweet. I thought this was James Dolan was getting out of ownership or like James Dolan has resigned his board of governors role in the NBA and his role on the finance and media committees. He's resigned that role basically because he wanted to do this lawsuit against the Raptors.
Oh.
Which is very much like, it's not cool. It's not cool with the league that teams are suing each other in like federal court. That's supposed to be handled internally. And the Knicks just filed another suit saying like Adam Silver can't decide this. A judge has to, because this is like trade secrets and whatever. But anyways, I thought it was more juicy but that's our breaking news. Anyways, let's
in the straight shots.
Let's get back to our negative fantasy award. We have PJ Washington nominee, 1 for 10, 3 points, 6 boards, 6 turnovers. Torian Prince, 1 for 11, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 0 personal fouls. And our final nominee, De'Aaron Fox, in a blowout loss to the Pelicans. De'Aaron Fox was 5 for 18, 14 points, 0 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 personal fouls. No, 2 turnovers and 1 personal foul. So, John, we're picking between PJ Washington, 1 for 10, 3 points, 6 boards, 6 turnovers. Torian Prince, 1 for 11, 2 points, 4 rebounds. And then De'Aaron Fox, 5 for 18, 14 points, 0 assists, 2 turnovers.
I'm enamored by the 6 turnovers, frankly.
I think the 6 turnovers is something special. 1 for 10 isn't normally a nominee.
Not good enough usually,
but in
6 turnovers
compared to a lack of a more overwhelming candidate, and then you throw in the 6 turnovers, that's just a wildly awful game by PJ Washington. Congratulations, PJ Washington. On
maybe it was a form of protest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was moved to the bench. I believe he was benched for Miles Bridges. Yeah, I
see myself doing something like that.
Yeah, I see your passive aggressive protest play. I noted and appreciated. Congrats, PJ Washington, on your International Stackhouse of Pancakes award. It's now time for kudos to me, our segment where we pat ourselves on the back, akin to Dylan Brooks, the time he got 5 assists in a game. Dylan's still shooting the ball well. But anyway, kudos to him. John, is there something that you got right that you like to pat yourself on the back for? I know I've got one.
I mean, how long can I ride this Mavs Wolves train? I feel like every time I cheer, I point to my Mavs being near the top of the standings. The fact that the Wolves are even higher on the standings nullifies it. So I'm going to stay away for this week.
Here's my kudos. My kudos. It is going to be Wolves. I suggested that one of the best landing spots possible for Kyle Anderson was in Minnesota. I made the plea that, hey, Timberwolves, if you want to get good, you should add Kyle Anderson to your team. And lo and behold, look at the standings. Timberwolves, number 1 in the West, had a very impressive win on Monday night over the Knicks. I just thought, when I'm looking at the Timberwolves, I thought, as a connective piece alongside Cat, that's about as good as you can do. I also, of course, knew that.
I think we should probably be loading up some Rudy Gobert apologies soon enough.
I don't feel like we trashed them that big.
We make fun of that trade plenty.
It's true. The trade's horrible.
Plenty.
But right now they're crushing it.
They're not doing this because, I mean, you can lay as much to Ant as you want. They're not doing this because of Karl Anthony Towns. And I do think, I mean, when I watch the Wolves, I think Rudy's good. Like
Rudy's been playing very well.
Really good.
Well, like Rudy's playing well. Cat's playing well. Mike Conley's playing well. Anthony Edwards is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, you fill in around that, your Nas Reeds and your Jaden McDaniels and your Kyle Andersons, you got a nice little squad there. So
I mean, it's looking at their roster. If you're a Grizzlies fan, will make you sick because every player they have is just cool.
Well, also, when I thought they should get Kyle Anderson, I did not know that Rudy Gobert was on the way.
Right.
And then you look at the Kyle Anderson, Rudy Gobert fit and like GM brain, podcaster brain, you're like, well, there's no spacing there. You can't do that. Doesn't matter.
That's not how Kyle Anderson works.
Kyle Anderson just feeds Gobert the ball and they get dunks.
Yeah. Kyle Anderson is a player who, adding him to your team, you get such increased flexibility on the lineups you can put out there that he's kind of invaluable. And every team that's let him go has regretted it. So just don't let him go, Timberwolves.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, the Grizzlies signed him for not much.
Yeah.
It was like the mid-level exception.
And all Spurs fans would reach out.
The Spurs were like, we'd rather try to develop something different. And then the Grizzlies were like, we'd rather try to develop something different. Anyways, par fadeaway, John. What thing are you looking forward to in the coming week?
I've got to say, I feel like the tournament has kind of rejuvenated this time of year in my viewing patterns, and I want to see. Essentially, I'm very interested. Like, will I be able to get NBA games on during this holiday? if I can use this new storyline, right?
Yeah.
of how these games matter, I think I can talk some of my geriatric family members into letting me put on a game or two.
Well, Black Friday, the NFL has a game on Black Friday.
Yeah.
But Black Friday, that's Cup Day, baby. I mean, that is in-season tournament. And we have afternoon games. We have Magic.
We start at like 1:30.
Sixers, right? Grizzlies, Suns play 4:00 on Friday. No, Friday.
Celtics Magic is very appealing to me. I think that's the first game. I think I can get that on the TV.
No, like so Friday. This Friday night is it's the final day of group play. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. That's my par fadeaway. 30 teams, one cup. It's on. Even Tuesday night. So Tuesday night, we're cool.
Okay. Like, hear me out. Like, I think you don't have to convince someone that the NBA game is better than Dolphins Jets.
Who's starting for is Aaron Rodgers going to start with no Achilles?
Have you heard that conspiracy theory where they think that Aaron Rodgers never tore his Achilles and he was just setting up a grandiose heroic return? He really had a cramp.
I'm not going to laugh it off until I do my own research.
Okay, good point. Good critical thinking.
No, Tuesday night. I'm not even looking forward to Friday yet. Tuesday night.
Okay.
We're talking. It's still group play. We have Cavaliers Sixers elimination game tonight. Those are two.
Risky, by the way.
Those are two of the best teams in the NBA playing an elimination game on Tuesday night. We have Raptors Magic. Those are not two of the best teams in the NBA, but there's two teams I like to watch. They're scrappy.
Is fun.
Yeah, and then so you have these important group play games. You also in West Group A, the Jazz 2-1 face on the Lakers who are 3-0 in their group. The winner is going to be top of that group, and then they'll be done, and then they have to tune in on Black Friday to see if the Suns beat the Blazers today, then Suns will be facing off with the Grizzlies on Black Friday to see if we'll get possibly a 3-way tie between Jazz, Lakers, and Suns. And then we go to the point differential, baby. Point differential Friday. I can't wait. It's going to be good.
Which coach do you think has done the best job of point differential scoring?
So in our Slack, Patrick was saying that Embiid has been gunning at the end of these games on all the group play games.
And yelling at players to learn the rules.
But on last Friday, I saw every team do this.
Yeah.
And I assumed, much like the league called up Steve Kerr and told him to condemn the actions of Draymond Green, I think there was a league-wide board of presidents meeting where they were like, hey, guys, point differential is important. You guys should be playing to the final whistle. And it's the tiniest thing that only probably affects gamblers and those of us who watch just insane amounts of League Pass. Just the random change of hey, there's 45 seconds left and both teams are going to keep shooting. That's a tiny little fun gift. Thank you, Adam Silver, for that tiny little fun gift. Now, if just they'd named the tournament the NBA Cup and not the IST. Yeah. And if they'd just name the groups A, B, C, D, E, F. That's all. Yeah. We don't need East Group A, West Group A. Anyways, I can't wait. League Cup stuff has been a fun addition, and
I think it should be the Kiki Cup in honor of Kiki Vandeweghe, a truly
and you spell cup with the K.
Yep, and you can spell it KKK.
Got it. Done.
Moving on.
Brand it, market it. Let's hang it up, shut it down. Let's go home. Anyways, thanks everybody for listening. If you want to try out Underdog Fantasy, remember promo code FBBF. If you want to support our program, do that at patreon.com. Keep an eye out for the bonus episode dropping on Patreon next week. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Talk to you soon. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing